What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We are on another episode of Sincerely the Carsons. I am Tyshe Carson.
And I'm Tyshe Carson.
And today we're going to get into some controversial issues. Surprise, surprise. We're going to get into a topic about unification. What it means to be one as people. Are your political parties, your racial discriminations, your sexual orientations, are they more important than your devotion to God and what He calls you to be? I really want to know. We have questions, and maybe you have some answers, and maybe you find some answers in the things that we talk about in this video. So if you're interested in hearing our perspectives, keep on watching. So I think that overall, through being an adult, growing, evolving, having children, and thinking about what we want to instill into them, as y'all know, we are big on our parenting skills, trying to improve those as much as we can. We stumble across subjects that really cause us to ponder. We really think, and we have a lot of thought-provoking questions about what it means to be purposeful in this life and what God really has for us. And the only conclusion that I think me and Malik agree on is that we suffer from not wanting or not being able to unify as a whole. God always talks about us as a whole. He loves all of us as a whole. And of course, we have free will and things that differentiate us based on the things that we choose to do and the ways we choose to live. But I think fellowship and being able to correct and help and assist the people that we love most, and even people we don't know, is one of our biggest purposes.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of us are separated because, we may not look the same. Maybe our hair color is not the same. Maybe our color is not the same. Mm-hmm. Maybe we don't speak the same language,
right?
Or maybe we don't like the same people, mm-hmm. Rather it's the same gender, and I think a lot of us are divided in that, and instead of looking at ourselves and saying, hey, how can I fix myself? We point the finger and say, hey, I don't like you because you're not as light as me, or I don't like you because you don't look as good as me, or I don't like you because you're not as rich as me, or I don't like you because you don't have the same job as me, or because you didn't go to college and I did. There's a lot of different factors that we can point at and point the finger to and say this and this and that. I don't like this, or I like that better. And you're placing yourself on a pedestal when we do these things, when we say, I'm here and you're here. Mm-hmm. That's what we do. We place ourselves on a pedestal, on a moral pedestal at that, and we say, well, I'm a good person, or I'm a better person than this person, therefore I must be good, or I'm not as bad as this person, or I look a little bit better than this person, so I could place myself here. And the truth be told, there's not one person on this earth that's better than the other, because we've all sinned. And because of that reason, and that reason alone, it makes us no different than the next man. Mm-hmm. Just because one man makes $1 million a year and one man makes $1 a year or homeless, doesn't make the nature of the human any different than each other, right? Mm-hmm. And that's what we have to get back to, is people don't understand that just because I'm a CEO and you're the one that works for the CEO, you're both humans. So what does that mean? That means the nature of the CEO and the nature of the employee is the same, because they're both humans. And therefore, because they're both humans, they both have the same value as a human being. They're not looked at any different before the eyes of God, before the eyes of Jesus, and before the eyes of the Holy Spirit. They're both going to be equally valuable. And the only thing that will separate the two is, what do you stand on? What do you stand for? Do you put Jesus before your social status? Do you put Jesus before your skin color? Do you put Jesus before your sexual orientation? these are questions you should be asking yourself, because these are the questions that matter, you know, at the end of times. These are the questions that matter once you're gone. These are the questions that matter once you pass on your will to your children. And I think that we're not thinking about these things enough. We're only thinking about today. And we're thinking, today, I don't like you. Today, I want to be rich. Today, I see the people on social media. And it's causing people to be blindfolded. Causing people to be indoctrinated, causing people to be brainwashed, because they're not paying attention to the true task at hand, which the true task at hand is, do I believe or do I not believe? Because if you believe, it does not matter if your brother is black. It does not matter if your brother is white. It does not matter if your brother is gay or not.
Yes.
At the end of the day, can I, as a Christian, be friends with an atheist? Yes. As long as he respects me and I respect him, we can be friends. Can I be friends with a man who says, I like men? Yes. As long as he respects me and I respect him. That's what we're not talking about. We're talking about, well, because I'm this. Because I'm this. That means you are beneath me. Because you're this, that means you're placing me beneath you, which is wrong. And I think that we have not been told that enough. We have not been told enough that just because you have a Lexus in your parking lot or a Lexus in your garage and the person next door has a Honda Civic does not mean that you're a better person. Just because you have not a dollar to your name does not mean you're not valuable. And I think that's what we're missing.
Absolutely. We are missing an empathy for one another. We're missing an identification within each other.
Yeah.
Because we don't look the same, or because we don't think the same, or because we don't express ourselves the same. And it brings me to when God calls us the salt of the earth, especially as believers. I think only as believers. He calls us to do a preservation amongst our fellow human beings. Mm-hmm. We're supposed to stop the decay that we see around us, the cultural tensions and the minuscule arguments and the racial debates. We're supposed to be slowing those processes down, because all we can see around us when it comes to everybody's beliefs and their wants and their needs is a selfishness. Mm-hmm. A selfishness that has nothing to do with God, far from God. And I had to even look at that within myself. Yeah. Recently, I've told Malik that for so long I've been focused on relationships. I've been focused on, how do I interact with this person, and how do I show up for this person, and does this person like me, and am I going to still be able to have a connection with this person, and I really had a hard time allowing relationships that didn't serve me to fall to the wayside, but also being able to value relationships that are valuable to me based on my spiritual progression. But no matter if the relationship was low on the totem pole priority or high on my totem pole, God convicted me to help me to understand that there's a bigger picture here. People's souls are disturbed. I don't think y'all understand. We talk about mental health. We talk about depression. We talk about anxiety. We see the suicide rates. And we've seen a spike in the broken home and divorces and anguish between the most precious relationship that God has even brought to this earth, which is between man and wife. And we see these tensions and we see them rising. We almost see them bubbling over, and no one speaks on them. Yeah. Everyone thinks that this is a new norm because we are trying to value things that we see within our sight instead of valuing things that are within our heart. And have you checked your heart posture lately? Have you asked yourself, are my belief systems more important than my devotion to God? Are the things I value, my political affiliations, my sexual orientation, as I stated in the intro, are they more important than the work God has called me to do on this earth as He's making His return? And it's important. It's an important question to ask, because that is the gauge of if you are a good person or not. And even more important, you need to find if you are a holy or righteous person. And a lot of times, even within the church, we try to diminish people around us based on things that you are not able to judge. I'm speaking to my people, to believers. You are not the judge of other people. You can inform, you can fellowship, you can befriend, but you are not the judge. So to look at someone who struggles with anything, addiction, sexuality, vanity, anything that God deems to be impure, it's not for you to diminish them and use them as a stepping stone to make yourself feel holier than thou. Because when's the last time you looked in the mirror? When's the last time you evaluated who you are as a person? And if you even have a thought to diminish someone next to you, then that already shows you don't even got to look in the mirror. I can tell you where you are.
Yeah. And there's a reason why Jesus told them, if you were to have a gathering or have a party or have a get together, invite the homeless, invite the poor before you invite your brothers and your sisters. Why? Why does he say this? He says this because your brothers and your sisters can repay you, right? And he even says it, don't invite them unless they are to repay you, because he knows that they can repay you. He wants you to invite the people who can't repay you. Why? Because he wants you to open your hearts up to the people who cannot repay you. That way you can ensure that you instill some hope into people. Instilling hope into people is far more important than getting a payment back. You know, just because you lend your brother $50 and you know he's like, hey, I'll repay you next week, and he repays you back, yeah, that's cool and all, right? You got your $50 back, your brother got to take the $50 and use it, and he paid you back. But it doesn't ultimately mean anything, honestly. You got it back, so you still got your $50 back. The test of your heart is when you see that homeless man and he needs the $50 and you give it to him, knowing that he's never going to repay you back, knowing that he could use it for anything he wants, but you give it to him anyway, not asking for anything back. That's why he tells you to invite the homeless, invite the poor, because they don't have the means to pay you back. And because they don't have the means to pay you back, that shows that you're doing it out of the kindness of your heart. That shows that you're doing it for the greater good. That shows you're instilling hope, faith into people, just like Jesus did. Jesus instilled hope, faith, miracles into people. And that is way more important than who's the president of the United States. That's way more important than if you're a Republican or a Democrat. We get lost in the propaganda of the world. We get lost in the indoctrinations of the world. We get lost in, the school systems. We don't teach our kids enough. We let the schools teach every single curriculum of our children. And not saying that the teachers shouldn't teach your children, because they're teachers for a reason. But where's your teachings? When's the last time you taught your child something? When's the last time you sat down with your child and asked them what's 2 + 2? When's the last time you sat with your child and asked them to read a book in front of you? When's the last time you've helped your child do something that they can enhance their brain? When's the last time you helped your child do something that can make them a better person for the next generation and the next generation? And I'll even speak for myself, right? Because I don't want to make it seem like, I'm a perfect person. So I'm gonna even give examples of myself. You know, for me, I'm a know-it-all. You know, she knows. I like to